We can also call him Dr. His Holiness Bhakti Vasudeva Swami. He has a PhD in Applied Science and Digital Sciences from Morgan University in the USA.
Recording. Wow.
So today we are very fortunate. So we have a Kannada translation by Anand Prabhu on near Garudev and Hindi translation by Rasamai Radharajan Prabhu near Srila Prabhupada. So request all of you to please attentively hear the class. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I think they've done the Radha Madhava prayers. Oh, yeah. Narayanam namaskritam naram cheva narottamam devim saraswati vyamsa tato jaya madirai nasa parayesva bhadresu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttamam sloke bhakti bhavaiti naistiki. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3, Text 22. 22? So the title of this chapter is Krishna, the source of all incarnations. Naradeva tvam apana Surakharya Chikishaya Samudra Nigrahadini Chakre Virya Nyata Param Naradeva Panaha Surakharya Chikishaya Samudra Nigrahadini Chakre Virya Nyata Param. Can someone try? Mataji's Mataji's
You have to balance it. Two means two.
Thank you very much. Translation, word for word translation, then translation and purport by His Divine Grace, ISKCON founder Acharya, Srila Abhachan of Indian Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay. Nara, human being. Devatvam, divinity. Apanaha, having assumed the form of. Sura, the demigods. Karya, activities. Shikishaya, for the purpose of performing. Samudra, the Indian Ocean. Nigraha Adini, controlling, etc. Chakre, did perform. Viryani, superhuman prowess. Ataha Param, thereafter. Okay. Translation. In the 18th incarnation, the Lord appeared as King Rama. In order to perform some pleasing work for the demigods, he exhibited superhuman prowess, superhuman powers, by controlling the Indian Ocean and then killing the atheist king Ravana, who was on the other side of the sea. Please kindly responsibly repeat. In the 18th incarnation, the Lord appeared as King Rama in order to perform some pleasing work for the demigods. He exhibited superhuman powers by controlling the Indian Ocean and then killing the atheist king Ravana, who was on the other side of the sea. Translation? Yes? It's happening behind? Oh, okay. Purport. The personality of Sri Rama assumed the form of a human being and appeared on the earth for the purpose of doing some pleasing work for the demigods or the administrative personalities to maintain the order of the universe. Sometimes great demons and atheists like Ravana and Hiranyakasipu and many others become very famous due to advancing material civilization by the help of material science and other activities with a spirit of challenging the established order of the Lord. For example, the attempt to fly to other planets by material means is a challenge to the established order. The conditions of each and every planet are different, and different classes of human beings are accommodated there for particular purposes mentioned in the codes of the Lord. But puffed up by the success in material advancement, sometimes the godless materialists challenge the existence of God. Ravana was one of them, and he wanted to deport ordinary men to the planet of Indra, heaven, by material means without consideration of the necessary qualifications. He wanted a staircase to be built up directly, reaching the heavenly planet, so that people might not be required to undergo the routine of pious work necessary to enter that planet. He also wanted to perform other acts against the established rule of the Lord. He even challenged the authority of Sri Rama, the personality of Godhead, and kidnapped his wife Sita. Of course, Lord Ram came to chastise these atheists, answering the prayer and desire of the demigods. He therefore took up the challenge of Ravana and The complete activity is the subject matter of the Ramayana. Because Lord Ramachandra was a personality of Godhead, he exhibited superhuman activities which no human being, including the materially advanced Ravana, could perform. Lord Ramachandra prepared a royal road on the Indian Ocean with stones that floated on the water. The modern scientists have done research in the area of weightlessness, but it is not possible to bring in weightlessness anywhere and everywhere. But because weightlessness is the creation of the Lord by which He can make the gigantic planets fly and float in the air, He made the stones even within this earth to be weightless and prepared a stone bridge on the sea without any supporting pillar. That is a display of the power of God. That is the display of the power of God, of the power of Krishna. Om Agyanata Nirandasya, Gyanajana Salakaya, Saksohamatam, Janatasma, Sivavim, Sichetan Yamanobista, Stafitam, Janabhutane, Swayam Rupam Kadamayam, Dadatasva, Padantikam. Vanchakalpataribhyacha, Kripasamabhya Evacha, Patitanam, Pavanabhya, Vaishnavabhya, Namo Namaha. Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda Sahodata, Gurudhaya Puspavanto, Chito Charmitamonada. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadara, Srivasani, Gaura Bhakti. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitanama Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravaya Pacharane Nirvasesa Sonya Bhadi Pasatya Visata. So welcome everyone to this morning class or Sunday feast class. Which one is correct? Okay. Welcome to the Sunday feast class, happening right here in, what's the name of this place? Seshadripuram. Yeah. These places are very cool, you know. We just came back from Nagabadi, and just a quiet, cool place, and the audience, the devotees, they're so much, you know, radiating love. They're so much enthused and highly motivated to be able to go on with their devotional service. So here also I've seen devotees here, they're very unique, they're very enthusiastic to perform their services and to engage in sadhana bhakti. And those who are professionals, they are able to integrate their professional development with their sadhana bhakti, which is a very great accomplishment for a practitioner of bhakti yoga. Because what happens is that sometimes people think that because of the resources they have at their disposal, spiritual life becomes negligible. But spiritual life is the most important thing because there are people who are even having 3 PhDs and they are not happy. So, Krishna is the repository of bliss, and we are also, by our Christian identity, we have some element. An element of bliss is part of our constituency. And therefore, if we connect ourselves with Krishna in devotional service, it makes it easy. And that is why Ravana was not successful, because he wanted to do everything by himself. He wanted to oppose, he even opposed, he challenged the authority of the Lord. So if we become like the scientists or the neo-Ravanas, the scientists, modern scientists actually neo-Ravanas. They are modern day small Ravanas. Because they are opposed, they challenge the authority of Krishna, challenge the authority of God. They say there is no God. Of course, if they accept that there is God, this world became manifest by the potency of God, potency of Krishna. Please don't blame the scientists. This is the reason why they have to struggle to defend themselves. That if they give in to the proposition that the world is a creation of someone called God or Krishna, they will lose their jobs. And they will lose respectability. Nobody will respect them. Government will not consult them for anything. If there is God, well, they will better go and consult with God, not you. So then, they make all these big fallacies, how the universe is, we have evolved, or how human beings have evolved from apes. But you know what? Even in science, the scientists themselves are being cheated, because even in science, if you make a generalization, you make an experiment, and then you make a general statement, other scientists should come and conduct that experiment and get the same result. Then it is generalizable. But, the theory of evolution, no one else conducted that theory. But the foolish people, they accepted it because you can prove it. But again, don't blame them. If they don't do that, they will lose their jobs. Okay, so let's get back to business. So Lord Krishna, out of a sense of compassion, sense of loving care for his whole creation, he makes himself available, especially with the understanding that the material world is dukkhalaya, saswata. It's miserable. I know sometimes people think, sometimes people meet me and they say, oh, I will pray for your long life. I say, oh, this is not a good prayer for me. Because long life means stay here and suffer. I mean, it's like someone is telling you, okay, you're in prison. Oh, today, happy birthday for you in prison. Just make sure you stay there because you're having 2 square meals. Stay in the prison as long as you can. Don't come out. So this is like the way we make our prayers. Oh, please, God, give me long life. The long life, if it's not used in Krishna consciousness, is very fatalistic. It is something very brutal. And therefore, when Ravana assumed the position of an atheist, I say assume the position of an atheist because Ravana also, he was a devotee of Lord Krishna. He just in a lila. Oh yes? Ravana is a devotee of Lord Krishna, but he is acting now as a demon. So everyone ultimately has to understand that they are parts and parcels of they are parts and parcels of Krishna. Mama evam so jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana. And if someone wants to rebel against the Lord, that has some repercussions. So like it's mentioned in the purport, Ravana was like, completely against the authority, the universal order. Universal order implies that you have to perform pious activities and then you can go to heaven. Ravana says, no need to do pious activities, get a staircase, build up a staircase to the heavenly planets. People can just climb on the staircase and go. What's the use of all these pious activities? So that is challenging the universal order. And you don't blame Ravana. When you have powers, power intoxicates. Power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. So, the people who are very powerful, even in the days of yore, they end up becoming miserable because they are not able to control their power. They are not able to align their power with the source of all powers. They think that they are themselves the source of the power and they are themselves powerful. But Krishna mentions in the Gita that he is the source of all prowess. He is the prowess in man. So even in the prowess of Ravana is Krishna, is a Krishna factor. But Ravana basically is very much unaware of this because he got intoxicated of the power. And when you're intoxicated, when you're taking some rum or wine, or you take some drugs, you don't know what is happening. So when you have so much of power, it's also like, intoxicates. Whether it's money or political power or whatever. So one can be very nice guy, very nice lady, sober. When you give them power, then you figure out where. You give them power and then you know their real status. So, it's like people taking some drugs. So Ravana challenged the authority of the universal authority and wanted to create a ladder to the heavenly planets. In most cases, you find that people who are very powerful materially, they cannot control their senses. Adanta Gobi, uncontrolled senses, is the root of all evils. Adanta Gobi, the uncontrolled senses, is the root of all problems in the material world. And that is what is keeping us in the material world. That is a great restraint. It checks us from making progress. So, and it is the cause of all crimes and antisocial behavior. And Ravana is the embodiment of uncontrolled senses. The simple definition of a demon is one who is under the control of the senses. A typical Godasa is a demon. A typical Godasa is a demon. And therefore, in Krishna consciousness, we all have small elements of Ravana in us. Oh yeah? I have small elements of Ravana in me. And that's why I'm in the material world. And that's why I'm suffering here in the material world of the threefold miseries. So, if people want to become suras, saintly, or become demigods, they have to align with the purpose, the structural purpose of the universe. And that requires that we follow rules. And that requires that we embark on activities that will help to purify us so that the senses don't the uncontrolled senses don't overwhelm us. I mean, it's like, this is January. So on January 4th, so many people took vows. New Year vows, isn't it? Isn't it? Yes. So many people took New Year vows. We say, in management science, we say that you are initiating a change. To initiate a change, anyone can initiate a change. How do you lead that change to a successful end? In other words, how do you sustain your vow? People take a vow. From today, I'm not going to smoke anymore. From today, I'm not going to eat garlics anymore. From today, so many. But in most cases, we'll find out about 75% of change initiatives fail, according to management science. I mean, just like people come to the temple in the beginning, oh, they get really enamored. I want to be brahmachari. I want to be brahmachari. You are initiating a change, initiating a positive change in your life. How that change, how you lead that change to a successful or to an accomplishment, that is the challenge. Because according to the statistics, about 75% of change initiatives fail. Only about 25% of people who took vows may succeed in upholding their vows. So it's a serious thing. It's a serious problem. And why people cannot follow up with their vows, why people, the change initiatives fail? Because in most cases, adanta gobi, uncontrolled senses. And so, those who don't follow rules, those who do not align with the cause of the absolute truth, it is very difficult for them to follow a standard. They may like a standard, but it's all in the books, not in practice. Because one thing is to say something, another thing is to practice. And so, if someone is not in a position to respect the orders of Lord Krishna, he's looking for trouble. He's just looking for trouble. And we see the typical case of Ravana, that he challenged Lord Ramachandra, and Ramachandra just very easily killed him. So Prabhupada is mentioning about how modern scientists, they've done so much of research on weightlessness. But, Rama just used stones to build the bridge to Sri Lanka. Stones. And you know what? You know the argument? Oh, that is a myth. It's a mythology. It's not mythology. See, where Ram appeared is there. Sri Lanka is there. Which is the mythology? The painful thing is that you go to some places and even some Indians, now they have adopted the system or the idea of, the Vedic scriptures. It's a mythology. Which mythology? Mythology means a fiction. It never existed. Krishna is a mythology? Ramachandra is a mythology? What is this? Because the Western people come to say this and you are accepting it? What is this? You go to Ayodhya, you find the kingdom of Ramachandra there. So, Ravana was just an atheist, as described in this very text. Now, his activities attracted Lord Ramachandra to annihilate him, to help to liberate him. Because when the Lord kills someone, they are extremely lucky. Well, you may say, well, I should also start acting like Ravana so that the Lord will incarnate to come and kill me. You may not be fortunate enough. We may not be fortunate enough. If we start to act like Ravana, start to act demoniacally, the Lord may not necessarily come incarnate to come and kill us. We are too small demons. He wants to deal with the real big guys. So, the whole thing is such that Ravana had a lot of desire for enjoyment. Bhogeshwara. The demon is thinking, that's my enemy. I've killed him. I'll kill that. My other enemy will also be killed. And he found, he perceived Lord Ramachandra to be his enemy. For what? For nothing. It's just that he had this fellow is very powerful. As soon as a demon hears of the power of someone else, they want to make some comparison. Is he as powerful as myself? The Lord Ramachandra is not a Jiva Tattva. It's not a Jiva Tattva category. He is a Vishnu Tattva, and here Ravana is a Jiva Tattva, and he's making comparisons. And so this is, according to Lord Brahma, Brahma describes this type of situation as Avisuddha Buddhaya, impure intelligence. Impure intelligence makes us to think that we can compete with the Lord. And so, in the case of Ravana, he tries several things to demonstrate his powers or his prowess, trying to build a bridge to the set up a ladder to the heavenly planets. He wanted to kidnap, of course, even the kidnapping of the so-called Sita that he did was, according to Trump, fake Sita. So, when someone is addicted to sense gratification, they may go at any length to try to achieve their goals. But ultimately, they end up being annihilated. And that's the typical case of Ravana. Unrestricted sensory pursuits leads to death. Unrestricted pursuit for sense gratification always creates problems. And therefore, it is important for us to try to enjoy the senses, but according to Prabhupada, dovetail it in the service of the Lord. Eat, sumptuously, but eat only Krishna Prasada. Because if we adopt the system of just being a vegetarian, we can eat in any buka, in any, just to give palate to the tongue. But that's not the business of the devotee. We are not vegetarians. We are supposed to be Krishnatarians. We are not just going to be working so hard. We're not workaholics. We're supposed to be Krishnaholics. So if we work so hard, and at the end of the day, we don't have the time, we lost taste for devotional service, then, we revert back to our original status of demoniac proclivities, trying to enjoy separately from Krishna. And when Ravana became entrapped to satiate in his sex life, he went for Sita. And what was the end result? He was annihilated. I don't want one significant factor in Ram Leela is that he came to teach us how to lead our communities. He came to teach us ethical leadership. And so when the fight between Ram's camp and Ravana's camp was going on, Ram did not sit at Ayodhya just letting his soldier monkeys and other people killed. He went to the war front himself. Are your leaders going to the war front? Presidents of countries? They just declare war between one country and the other. You think Putin is going to the war front? Or Zelensky is going to the war front? No. But Ram went to the war front. If we are afraid of death and we're pushing some other people to go and die, that's not a good deal. It means that we are not the well-wishers of our constituencies. And therefore, it is important for us to understand the implications of Ram's appearance and his activities. Is to set things right, to set an example of how we should lead our communities. And the family is a microcosm of the community. So if we don't take proper care of our families, how are we going to care about the devotees in our communities? Is it possible? We can preach very nicely, sit on the stand and speak very nicely how all the women should follow the example of Devahuti, and we refuse to be a new Kadamamuni. We want everything to be so cheap on our side. We don't want to take responsibilities. So, it is important. Ramachandra took responsibility himself. He declared a war, he went to the war front himself. A leader is one who goes the way, who shows the way and goes the way. So all of us are supposed to be leaders or potential leaders. Not just destructive leaders, but ethical leaders. Servant ethical leaders. And so it is important to follow the example of Lord Ramachandra of not just ordering people to do things, but we should show by our own example. A father cannot tell his son not to smoke, and they go hide to go and take some tobacco. If we have to preach to people, let our actions speak for themselves. And so, Ravana basically is an emblem of sense enjoyment. Ravana is an emblem of sense enjoyment. And sense enjoyment kills. And sometimes the sense enjoyer takes very dangerous risks. There's no problem in taking risks in this material world. But the risk is for who? For Rishikesh or for ourselves? For the master of the senses or for ourselves? Risk for the master of the senses, that's fine, because we don't get to pay any karma for it. But risk for the gratification of our senses, we pay the price for it. So, Ravana took a very great risk that he met his Waterloo, as they used to say. He met with heavy consequences, death. And so yes, we are all subject to death, but why rush to death? Why rush? There's no need to rush to death. We will die. Why rush? We have an opportunity to be able to align with the principles set by Lord Ramachandra. We have a chance to align with the teachings of Lord Krishna and to help in recreating a sustainable future for the global society. See, there is nothing that the world is lacking out there. What is lacking is Krishna consciousness. That's the only thing that is lacking. You look at all of the problems that are going on in the world today, wars, crises, natural disasters. Yeah, all based on the activities that we've been involved in. And so, activities need to be checked, and how to diagnose our activities should be based on whether this activity is sanctioned by the Lord. Is it based on Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra? And sometimes we just think, well, Krishna is not seeing me. This is in the night. This is in the night, in the dead of night. Who is seeing me? So, we have to understand, Lord Jagannath has very big eyes. And because he has big eyes, he sees everywhere. He sees us anywhere, anytime. And therefore, if we want to make our lives perfect, not next life, this life, we can make our life perfect in this life. Let's work for Lord Ramachandra. Let's work for Lord Krishna. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't maintain your families. But you can always do one thing. We should ask ourselves whether what I said or what I'm doing now is something that will be pleasing to Krishna. In fact, that is how to evaluate. That is the self-analysis that we should be involved in every day. In fact, we don't even need someone to come and mentor us. Self-mentoring. Make an analysis. Ask yourself, what I'm doing now, is it something that is pleasing to Krishna? If Krishna is too far away, then we may say, well, why bother? But Krishna is not far away. Iswara Sarva Bhutanam Redi Se Arjuna Tistati. He's there in our hearts, sitting there watching as a super soul. Who says he's far away? Is in Krishna Loka? No, he's everywhere. And so, when the world becomes devoid of the small ravenous, then that peace could reign. Otherwise, we have all of this quality of people on the planet who are masquerading as rulers, who are masquerading as leaders. But the essential factor is that they are part of Ravana's party. They are working against the challenging authority of the Supreme Lord. And we should align with Lord Ramachandra. Means we should follow Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra. Sastra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's what we should follow. And if we're doing that, the world can become a better place to live in. Our children will follow that example. We don't need to preach to our children, don't do this, don't do that. If we are living a very exemplary, holy life, sadhu life or sadvi life, it makes it very simple. And right here in India, you are very much blessed. You have been growing with this very culture. And therefore, you also need to know that you have a high responsibility. Bharata bhumi te halamanasa janma yara. Janma swatakikara. Kara upakara. I mean, it's like you're born in the born as a son or as a grandson to the President of India or to the Prime Minister. You have all the facilities there. It depends on you. What do you want to do with the resources? You want to build up yourself or you want to destroy yourself with the resources? The resources also are available in the rich man's home. They could be used by the children for self-destruction. So, this is the nature of, this is the Ravana mentality of self-destruction. And the self-destruction comes from the pursuit, unrestricted pursuit for sense gratification. There are so many women on the planet. Is Lord Ramachandra's wife that you see you want to go and take? Abba. And some people do that. Some people do that, even in our own movement. Some people do that. They're like small ravenous. They see someone's wife and that's the one that they will take away and run away with. You have seen that. And even in India it's happening. So when I say neo-ravenous, I'm not just talking only about the global leaders who are misdirecting and misdirected civilization. We are also doing that. And we can just wonder how ravenous dare to do that. We are small ravenous. We're taking other people's wives. Have not seen anybody who has taken another person's wife. Raise up your hand. Good that all of you have seen somebody who has taken away someone's wife. So even in a movement it's happening. Even in a movement we have small ravenous who go to take away another person's wife. There are so many unmarried women out there. So many unmarried women out there. The ravenous kind of person will not look at them. He look at the one that is married to go and take away. So this is a dangerous setting, a dangerous mindset that is bound to bring terrible reactions, terrible devastations. And so, the Lord is always very merciful. He has always been appearing. And Lord Ramachandra is mentioned here as the 18th incarnation. One of the things I remember with the setting of standard in terms of leadership is that during Lord Ramachandra's reign, sometimes people just think that he killed Ravana and so many people, and Ravana's wives, they become widows. But is it to be blamed for that? You go to take someone's wife. In fact, the Vedas don't condone that. I mean, it's like you go and set fire on someone's house. The rule is no violence, but if you go and set fire on someone's house, you could be killed. It's called acid. It's a criminal offense, and the Veda authorizes that. You merit being killed. So you take someone's wife, you're really looking for trouble, because there are so many women who are not married, who are looking for husbands, who are looking for partners. So Lord Ramachandra, during his administration, there was a dog that was seeking for justice. A dog. In India, you see so many dogs on the street. A dog was seeking for justice, and he sought for justice from Lord Ramachandra. And Ramachandra facilitated that justice. You want to hear the story? So, there was this Brahmin. He was going along the street. A Brahmin. Then there was a dog on the street. He was carrying some walking stick. The story is given in Ramayana. And by the way, there is a wonderful translation of the Ramayana by Vidvan Guranga, a disciple of Japataka Swami Maharaj. And they are in volumes, like we have the Bhagavatam volumes. It's so detailed and it's so nice. Those of you who are scholarly, experiment with it. So, this Brahmin was going with his walking stick and he saw this dog sitting on the street. That's very common in the theaters, in the Holy Dam, in Vrindavan, in Mayapur. The dogs, they just sit on the road. What can you do to me? Like challenging people. What can you do to me? I'm here. So this Brahmin, he told the dog, leave the road. I want to pass. The dog didn't budge, he didn't care about him at all. So he used the walking stick to hit the head of the dog. So he started bleeding. Mr. Brown, what can another dog do to you? So the dog, he went to Ramachandra's court. And Ramachandra, immediately he could perceive what was happening. So he told Lakshman to go to the gate and bring anybody who is there with a complaint. Lakshman went to the gate, and then he came back. He said, "My lord, nobody is there." He said, "Go back. Go and check." He went, he came back. He said, "Nobody is there with any complaint." He said, "Go back and check. Any living entity you see, bring him here." So he went, and then he saw this dog. The dog was there. He was bleeding in the head. So they brought the dog to the court of Ramachandra, and they asked him his problem. What is his complaint? When you go to the police, you're a complainant. So here, the dog becomes a complainant. What is your complaint? He said, "I was sitting on the road. You see this bleeding? When you hit somebody and they bleed, it's called assault occasioning harm. So that's a serious crime." So the dog said, you see my head bleeding?" They said, "Yes." He said, "One Brahmin hit me with a stick on my head. I was sitting on the road. He asked me to leave the road. I was defiant. I didn't mind him. So he hit me on the head." He said, "A dog is supposed to be tolerant. I mean, a Brahmin is supposed to be tolerant." Sometimes we want to become Brahmins, we want to take second initiation, but then we look at the qualities of a Brahmin and they're so demanding, it's so daunting. So Ramachandra's court ordered the Brahmin to appear to testify. So they brought the Brahmin and he testified. They cross-examined him. He became like the defendant. He was the defendant. So they cross-examined him. The jurors, Ramachandra's jurors, they cross-examined this Brahmin. And the Brahmin said that, "Yes, I hit that dog on the head because I was coming." And he refused to go away from the road. I told him to go away from the road, he refused. So I hit him with my stick. And that's why he was bleeding. So anyway, ultimately the court, the jurors, they found this Brahmin guilty. So they told him, "Yes, prosecuted you, we'll find you guilty in this case. But we want to also find out from the complainant what is the best punishment that he thinks you merit." So they called this dog. "What punishment do you think we should give to this man, this Brahmin, that will satisfy you? Because if we give the punishment just based on the books, he may not be satisfied. So tell us, suggest to us what is going to be pleasing to you." So the dog said that, "Make him the president of such and such a monastery." So that's a little bit funny because someone commits a crime and you're asking for his promotion. You're the complainant and you're asking the court that they should promote him in his job. So some of the jurors who were participating in hearing the case, they didn't understand what the dog implies. But Ram understood everything. So the jurors, they asked him to explain why he said that, because this guy has committed a crime. And he asked him for him to become the president of a very prominent monastery, prominent ashram. I mean, like someone commit a crime, and then, you know, a devotee who is, okay, let's say a devotee who is, a Sankirtan devotee commits some offense, and then the temple management, they judge him, and then they find him guilty. And then, you know, the complainant, the victim, says, oh, make him a GBC. It would be like, they ask the complainant, the victim, and then they say, oh, make him a GBC. I suggest make him a GBC. So that is really strict. And so when the jurors asked the dog that, they needed some explanation about what he implies, why he's saying that, because this guy committed a crime, punishable by this and this, by prison or whatever. So he said that, oh, you don't understand, all right, let me explain. You see me, I'm a dog, right? You know why I'm a dog now? They said they don't know. He said, I was the president of such and such a monastery. And I observed 1/6 of the reaction of any sin that was perpetrated. And it's just true. I remember I told this story one time when I was in Florida, and one lady, she teaches at the Gurukul. She comes to say that she's resigning from the Gurukul. Because I explained in detail what Prabhupada had explained in some of his purports, that, you know, a parent takes the reactions of the sinful activities of their child. Say, for instance, you have 3 daughters who committed 2 abortions each. And now, when you have to beat Yamaraj will charge you for murder. But you never murdered anybody. So that is how dangerous the material world is. And that's why the Bhagavatam says, don't be a parent, don't be a guru, don't be a teacher, except you are in a position to help to facilitate the emancipation of your subjects. Yeah, so sometimes people jump into marriage, jump into procreation, but is according to the Vedic tradition, it's very tough. It's a high responsibility. And whether we know it or not, we get the reaction. So the dog explained that, because I was the president of such and such a monastery, you know, people commit crimes, commit offenses, sinful activities. I bore 1/6. Each time they commit sinful activities, I bore 1/6 of the reaction. That's why I'm a dog now. This guy, he thinks he's smart. Let him become the president of So, that is how the members of the jury, they came to understand the past life of this dog. So, Lord Ramachandra was very much into facilitation of justice. That even for a dog, he facilitated the justice demanded by the dog. And so Lord Krishna creates a fair hearing for everyone. And if even we are weak, he's ready to help us. And we are all weak. It's a matter of recognizing that we are weak, and we take a proper step in trying to realign ourselves to achieve the mercy of the Lord. So, let us be in Ramachandra's camp and fight the war in our devotional life. Devotional service is like a warfare. If someone tells you devotional service is easy going, and they have not started. It looks very easy, but in practice, there are a lot of things involved that we need to do. But if we get the mercy of the Lord, He can build bridge across the ocean of material existence with stones for us to tread through. Any comments or questions? Yes? Any comments or questions? Yeah. Yes? Can you give a microphone? No? No? Here.
Maharaj, we were telling about that vegetarian and Krishnatarian. So unless we are Krishnatarian, our senses cannot be controlled. I am from South India. In Tamil Nadu, that is in South India, there are many Shiva temples are there. There are wonderful devotees of Lord Shiva. Personally, I have seen they also they worship only Lord Shiva. They offer food only to Lord Shiva, and they are also more sense controlled, like in devotees in Islam. So sometimes it looks more contradictory.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Vaishnava Varnam Yatha Sambhu. Lord Shiva is the greatest of all the devotees of Lord Vishnu. So if someone is sincerely worshipping Lord Shiva and following all the norms required, prescribed in the Shiva Purana or whatever worship literature that they have, at the end of life, I've read about this in, I think, one of Bhakti Vinod's writing. At the end of their life, Lord Shiva comes to chant the holy names of Krishna into their ears at the time of death. But you need to qualify to become a genuine devotee of Lord Shiva. I've also seen, you may not like this, but you may not like this, but I can share with you. There are some people who are born as Brahmins. They are great worshippers of Lord Shiva. They are Brahmins. They are like smarter Brahmins. But they are very volatile. Little things triggers their temperament. You've not really gotten very close to them. In fact, according to Lord Brahma, if someone is not worshipping Lord Krishna rigidly, it's very difficult to trust them. Because maybe it's like one devotee was raising this issue when we went to the college program, that there are people out there who are not Krishna devotees, but they're very serene, they're very sober, they're very sincere. But according to Bhagavatam, it is not sustainable. They may do that, but there is no sustainability. It doesn't last for long. Because there is no actual purification of the senses. If the senses are not purified, it becomes like there is no permanent change. And therefore, yes, there are good people in this world. Yes, people who are worshipping demigods, they seem to be out. So a number of them seem to be apparently very sober, very self-controlled. But what is self-control? Rupa Goswami gives us some insight. Vacho vega, manasa kroda vega, jiva vega, udara pasta vega, etam vega myo visahita dira, sarvam apimam pritivim sasashat. Are they controlling all these urges? Have you gotten close to them? And you figure out that they are controlling all of these urges? Manasa, kroda, jiva, udara, pasta. Are they controlling all of this? Did you get close to them? I've gotten close to some of them, and I know what I'm talking about. Very expert in rituals. Very expert in some external austerities. But no real actual control of the sensory modalities. Adanta go be. Yeah. But it's good to see the good in others. You are a genuine devotee. We should see the good in others. Not that, okay, I'm trying to be a devotee of Lord Krishna and everyone there is rubbish. No. We should see the good in others. This is what the scripture tells us. And this is what some of us have had the lived experience with this type of people. Yeah. Any other comment?
If devotional service is like a war, how to take shelter of devotees and the Lord? One more question. What attracted you to His Holiness Bhakti Vasudeva Swami? And can you please share some interactions with the Guru Maharaj?
What is it? Interaction with my Guru Maharaj? Oh, they are very tough. They are not very good for the public.
What attracted you to Guru Maharaj? Can you please share Maharaj?
What?
Attracted you?
Oh, okay. See, I was coming. Let me answer this last question first. I came from a legal background. I was working as a young man. I was with the Justice Department, and traditionally, the way bosses, the boss, how they treat the workers is something sometimes very humiliating. They bring you down, and like a menial servant sometimes. But when I joined the temple, the first time that we went out for book distribution, and when we came back, we had Bhakti Vasudeva Swami that Maharaj was available, that he visited. He was in the temple. So then, and that he had ordered, he wanted to see all the Sankirtan devotees who were out for a meeting. So we went to his room, and I met with him. And that was just, that interaction like completely transformed the situation. I thought, no, I never met, because I've worked with bosses and I've never seen anybody like that. That at the first encounter, you go out for your job, boss, who cares? Just go out for your job and come. But he was asking us the challenges we faced when we were out there on Sankirtan. And he was there to give us ideas, to advise us on what to do, how to go about when we have challenges. Bosses, in most cases, they are too busy. They think they are paying you, and so you figure this out yourself. If you don't come to work or you fail to do a particular service, then you are fired. But his attitude was completely out of loving care. He was concerned that we have gone out to represent Srila Prabhupada, to distribute Prabhupada books. And he was there to give us counseling, to solace us if we ever had any challenges. So I became completely enamored to him. Because the gap in comparison to the material bosses that I've worked with is just too much to speak about. So that is how I thought, oh wow, this is not somebody from this planet. Yeah. It was just purely administrative issue, not even spiritual stuff. That time we have not even started attending his lecture because we just came back from Sankirtan, and that night the president said he wanted to see us, the Sankirtan devotee. So it was purely administrative mood. But I was just totally carried away that, no, I've never seen this before. The boss to be so caring and loving like that. That's how I got attracted to. What's your other question?
Like if devotional service is like a war, how to take shelter of devotees and the Lord?
Okay. Yeah, devotional service is a warfare because we are always fighting against Maya. Maya does not give us any break. There's no break. There's no ceasefire for Maya. We may say Putin is so bad, but Putin also was seeking for ceasefire just recently. There is no ceasefire. Maya does not seek for ceasefire in the war. And so, anywhere that we get weakened, then Maya jumps in through there. And so the way we cannot really fight Maya. We cannot find the illusory energy because it's Krishna's energy. But if we take shelter of Krishna, and that if you read Bhakti Vinod's works on Saranagati, you see the process of how to take shelter of the Lord. Have you read Saranagati? Okay, maybe we'll do a seminar on Saranagati before I leave. But it gives you some fundamental idea about the process of Sarvadhana, Parituja, Manika, and Saranamrita. How to surrender. We quote this verse, 1866, something like Bhagavad Gita, 1866. We quote this verse, but what is the actual process of surrender? You say, give up every other religion, every other activity. And how do we do that? How do we surrender? Bhaktivinoda delineated in his writings, in the Saranagati, on the different limbs of Saranagati, different steps of surrender. So, yeah, we can maybe figure out some day so that we can do a seminar presentation on Saranagati, so that we can have some idea about how to fight this war. The war is not with guns or ballistic weapons, but it's more than that. It's very tough. Yeah, it's Jagannath Baladev Subhadaki. So, any other comment or? Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your encouraging words. Every country, as you're sharing about how to serve the community and how to build the community also, there are many devotees connected to this community. But rarely you see them at big festivals or when Maharaj comes or some Guru comes, they flock here. How do you help them or serve them so that they have a very strong community? If not every week or every day, at least very regularly we can attract them.
Yeah, that's a very nice question. Don't be in anxiety about this. This is called a general problem. It's a general problem because this problem is there in all of our devotional communities. Some of the devotees in some communities, it is only when their guru comes that they will come to the temple. Some of the devotees, you will not see them except during Janmashtami. Or some you will not see them except during Ramnami or during Ratha Yatra. So what to do to help them? We should create a friendly, oriented environment. Now, you should ask yourself, suppose you have a family in your family, you have a problem in your family, say you are married, or say you are living with your parents and there is some argument and you're so upset, you're so angered, are so angry by the way you were treated that you want to just get up from the house for some days. Where will you go? You have a friend that you can call and say, hey, come pick me up. In most of our communities, we don't have those type of relationships. We're not friendly enough to be able to have the opportunity to go and take shelter of someone when you're in difficulty. The temple, yes, temple is there. But even the temple, if you are not a regular performer of service, the temple president may tell you that there is no accommodation. So we should create a loving, enabling environment so that we create some type of friendship that when we are in difficulty, we can take shelter of someone. Those are the type of people that if you create a loving relationship with the devotees, they may not want to come to the temple, but they want to come because they want to meet you. Yes, so sometimes we don't call anybody except we want to engage them in some service. We don't see them, we don't ask. But if there's some service, we say, hey, Govinda, can you come and do this service? So we should make the devotees have a sense of belonging. We should love them in such a way that they should be feeling a part of this very community. They should see the community, the temple, as their first house. So they would like to come. So when I went to the temple, the first time I went to the temple, the president, he was so expert. The first day I went to the temple, as a young man, I went to the temple. The president asked me, after the Sunday program, he called me to his office. He asked me to bring the donation box. Open the donation box, count all the money, and give it to me. So I thought, oh, but even my boss in the office may not trust me like this. He trusts me so much. So we became friends. Until today, we are friends. He's also his family now, but till today we are friends. And he could give you good advice. At that time, what time he was married, but even when he was married, he will always call me and say, Vasudeva, don't ever. So, yeah, we should create an enabling environment. I remember when he was in Washington, D.C., working, and at the same time engaged in some devotional programs. I had a number of other members of my God family, but I would go and stay with him. Then the other members of my God family, they wouldn't even know that I'm staying with somebody. Because if they know, they will get angry. Why you don't come to my house? Why you don't come to stay with me? But because we have a loving connection, loving relationship, it's not just based on the fact that you're a devotee, I'm a devotee. But so love tells a lot, and love means sacrificing our convenience for the purpose of pleasing someone else. Yeah. Horrible. In the absence of any other comments, I think we can adjourn this meeting. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.